a few reservations or RSVPs, so I'm guessing people are hoping they're going to catch the recording of this because that's when I see like 10, 15 people come, that usually means the recording's going to be much more popular.
Uh, well, that they're going to learn a little bit about mushroom coffee, maybe something they didn't expect. Also, I like this topic. When you asked me, Mary, well, number one, thank you for inviting me to come and chat with everybody because I love, love, love connecting with other folks in the community space. It's just very, I think, reassuring and validating when you have conversations with folks who speak your same language. Because so often we are all communicating with people at our own organizations who don't fully understand what we do, and they'll understand at some level depending on what their role is in the org. But when you talk with other people in the community space, they really just get it. There's a click, there's a like, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. And you can continue a conversation and it can go to a deeper level. So I love having conversations with folks in this space on different issues for that very reason that you're constantly able to learn from other people and how other people are doing things. That's something that we need to do. I think we owe it to our organizations in this space is to say, not only are how are we doing something in our environment, but how are other people doing it? And what can I learn from them? And how can I adapt it to my environment in a way that might make my organization, my community, my customer advocacy program super successful? So I love these conversations. I actually reserve part of my Friday for them so that I can meet and continue to grow my network and learn from everybody in this space. And what I found was lately, especially, since December of last year when key events happened in the community space that you all are probably very aware of, there's been a lot of conversation specifically about customer advocacy. What do I do with my customer advocacy program? How does it tie to community? Is there crossroads? Is there overlap? Are they completely separate? And so, Mary, when you asked me, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, let's talk about this. And I purposely did not put together a presentation or anything formal because I really think it is a conversation and I want to know what other people think and how your organizations are tackling this, what your personal opinions are, because I think there's so much to be learned, like I said, from other people. But also we're kind of in a new wave where we get to expand and explore and dream a little bit. And part of it is by force. So anybody who is using Influitive probably caught off guard, right? We were in that same boat. We were using Influitive for customer advocacy. I built our program on that platform just over 6 years ago. We just hit our 6-year anniversary with our Heroes program. And it was wildly successful and absolutely wonderful and my baby, right? Because I helped grow this. And then the ball drops and you're like, oh, darn, what do I do? What do I do? So I've seen people, and you guys have probably all seen this too, go a number of paths. Some are like, we're going to look for a bridge strategy and we're going to figure it out over time. Others are like, absolutely nope, we're done. We are finding the next thing. What can customer advocacy be moving forward and thinking bigger picture? And then there are a number of people who are still having the conversation. This one shocks me a little bit. So if this is you, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with it. How do I replace my customer advocacy program with what I had? That's not what we should be asking. We should be saying this is an opportunity for anybody who is in this boat, and that may not be everybody. But as a whole, anybody who has a customer advocacy program, I think you have to take a step back after a number of years and say, what have I accomplished? And how does it relate to the broader community? Because what can happen and what happened with our own program is you get so focused in on customer advocacy and you're like, this program is doing really, really well. These customers are excelling. They have high NPS scores. They have low churn rate. They're very happy. You can prove out all kinds of ROI from that group, but it's not reaching your broader community. The magic, if you will, of customer advocacy programs I think too often is staying within the customer advocacy program. So as we got kind of hit by that ball drop and the shoot, what are we going to do? I went to my manager and I said, and this was not a popular opinion, but I said, I don't need a bridge strategy with them because number one, and these are my personal opinions, not the opinions of my organization, but I said, I don't want to work with an organization who has certain displays of ethical standards. That's my personal opinion. So I said, I would rather take our Jamp heroes and we tell them, because we've developed relationships with them over time, and we tell them, hey, guess what? We don't know what's coming because your platform isn't here anymore, but we are going to make it better. And just like, we ask that you trust us. And guess what? They did. They're just like, we trust you. We know that you have our best interest in mind. And we're involving them in the process. So now we're looking at how did customer advocacy benefit the bigger community? In a lot of ways, it didn't, because, like I already shared, it's built kind of in a silo. And how can you break outside of that? And how can you still have a program that's designated if you want it to be your super user program or what have you? And then how can you make it impact the entire community? And that's where I think this topic really comes into play, where we really do expand our vision and we expand the dream of what does community actually mean? How does it all function together? Like, how are all the puzzle pieces fitting? And I had a conversation with somebody just a few weeks ago, and she's kind of stuck because she's like, Jeni, I oversee customer advocacy, and then there's somebody over in this other department at my organization that oversees community, and we have different goals and different visions. And this is a story I've heard from so many people. Sheila, you're nodding. You've probably heard this from so many people too. Maybe you're in that boat. But that's a commonality that we experience, that community and customer advocacy are, maybe it's because they're built at separate times, or there's different visions in the community or in the company. Maybe customer advocacy has a very marketing focus. I have opinions on that too. And community had a different focus, and they grow separate and they continue to grow separate. And that's not successful or sustainable, in my opinion, for the broader community in the long run. So that's where, when I have these conversations, you can tell I get a little fired up and I get excited, because I think we are at the point where everybody should be saying, number one, what is community? If you have customers, you have community. I don't care if you have a community platform or not, you have community. Number two, if you have a community, you have advocates. You may not have an established advocacy platform, but you have advocates. They filter down from one another. Community has advocates. Advocates create lots of outcomes. Some of those outcomes are marketing outcomes. Some of them are outcomes for other departments. I don't love when anybody comes and says all of the benefits of my advocacy program are creating online reviews and fulfilling a reference program and participating in case studies. That can,
Jeni,
yeah.
there were two questions that popped up real fast.
Oh,
Um,
sorry, I wasn't looking. See, I get on a roll. You have to interrupt me.
yeah, sorry, it's okay. Uh, Elena asked, I'm sorry, what happened? Influitive disappeared? The
Oh,
platform you were using just disappeared? It sounds like maybe you stopped using it or you were
yeah.
leaving.
I can give a little background on this, because yeah,
Thank
not
you.
every, if you know, you know very, very well. If you don't know, you might not know at all. So thank you for that question. So Influitive was obviously well-known customer advocacy platform. They were purchased by another company in December of last year. So on day one, they laid off 40% of their staff, of the Influitive staff. And then shortly thereafter, a few months later, they laid off the majority of the rest of the staff. They kept on a handful of previous Influitive employees, but the new parent company essentially didn't really know, again, my opinion, didn't really know how to run the product. Things for us in particular were breaking, and we'd say, we need this fixed because this is now a security issue. They couldn't fix it because nobody knew how. There were major, major issues. And we were up for renewal. So we were kind of at a good spot where we were up for renewal. And I said, I'm not willing to sign on with them for another year. Some people have, I know they've signed on because they're just not sure what to do. Maybe they don't have a community or something else. So essentially we had our customer advocacy platform that we had used for 6 years, and just like that, it was gone. We had, I think, 2 months from the day that they were purchased until our contract was up. It was like 2.5 months. And then we decided, nope, I'd rather not have it. And we're going to figure out something else. So sorry I didn't provide background on that for folks who didn't know. Yeah, okay, Shelly, we're still on them and are adding discussion shortly. We signed on 2 weeks before the horrible acquisition.
Yeah, Jenny, you were one of my reference calls in November, last
Ah, that's why
November.
I recognize your name.
Yes, nice to see you.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, you're not the only one. I have chatted with a handful of people who signed on right before that acquisition, and they were like
uh,
2 year
it makes us
contract.
look so bad. Like, they're like, how did you not know this was happening? I'm like, oh my God, there's no way any of us knew. But anyways,
Yeah,
rabbit
no.
holes.
And then yeah, you do the best you can with what you have for your customers. I mean, that's the state we're in constantly, is do the best you can. I feel like that's parenting too. You do the best you can with the energy you have at the time you have it. And that's
Yeah.
what we go through. Yeah, so okay, let's see. We're looking for a platform, requested a demo a few times, never heard back. So I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, if you requested a demo from Influitive, I would not be surprised that you didn't hear back. Just based on what I've seen and what I've been hearing from folks. But Shelly's using them, so if you want a current day.
We got our CSMs back. I don't know if you knew that, but they took them away and then they put them back. So, and she's been great. They're with Advocacy Maven, um,
Mhm.
and she's been great so far. So I'm excited about that. And she tells me that they're putting some effort into the community, like developing the discussions part. Like they're putting more product development into that. So I'm encouraged.
Yeah, so that was a bit of good news because they had fired all their CSMs, and then I think they realized they needed CSMs. So yeah, they hired on Advocacy Maven. So at least there's some folks who understand the space that can help out. So that's a good thing. Definitely. Yeah, so we have not announced yet, even to our entire company, what we're moving forward with. So unfortunately, I can't share that with you guys, but I am really excited to come later this year. We're going to be able to share out that information. And um I had another thought I'll get out to for a second. I hadn't even thought about having a platform for customer advocacy. I thought of doing it through a community platform. Yeah, so and that's a really good point. And I don't know if it's Alina or Elena, so I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. You don't need one, which depending on who you talk to, people are going to have different opinions on this too. I feel like the skill set that community managers bring to their job allows you to establish community with the tools that you have. Do some tools make it easier? Like an advocacy tool where you can serve up information incredibly easily, you can make it shared out incredibly easy, feedback. Yes, tools can make it way, way, way easier, but I would never say that not having a tool means that you can't have community or can't have customer advocacy. They just make it easier. So if you have creativity and you have passion for your customers, I think that you can do it organically. Yeah. Yeah, growing it organic. So there you go. Lori's growing it organically. That's the thing. It's easier. Depending on what your goals are. Everybody has different goals for community or specifically customer advocacy. It really depends on all of that. Yeah, reference management is a bit of a bear without a platform. That's true. References are something that we did hybrid between, the beloved spreadsheets and connection to Salesforce. There are other tools, like you mentioned, yeah, Reference Edge. There's a lot of tools out there. So it just goes back to what you're trying to accomplish and how much effort, focus you want to put into it. And that will lead you to your decisions for sure. So I would love to know, of everybody here, do you have customer advocacy and community as separate or under the same umbrella?
For me, it's under the same umbrella under customer advocacy.
Your customer, okay, awesome.
Yeah. For me, when I was at Juniper, I owned both the online community and customer advocacy.
Awesome. Colleen is separate.
Same here at Degreed, we had, customer marketing, and so advocacy and community came out of the same place.
Okay, Alina, go ahead and
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're working on the customer advocacy. Well, I'm working on getting others on board. And I want to have it together. I was thinking of just using the community platform and maybe other tools, but I want to have it together. Yeah.
yeah.
Ours is separate. So customer marketing rolls up to product marketing because for years there was sort of no like content updates, no features, functionalities, new release. There was no cadence and communication. It was a really weak area in customer marketing. I'm in advocacy and I sit under, actually I report to the CMO. And our community has been like abandoned. It was originally had a community manager who sat in the marketing team. So she had great customer marketing, really good engagement skills. And now the rec has been kicked down the road. That I was going to it was going to report to me. Then it moved over to the sales advocate, the SA team, because they want to make it a pipeline generation. And I'm like, you know what, I'm out. Like that's not what we need from community. So
Yeah.
not quite sure. They can't let go of it being a technical, almost, overflow for tech support and an opportunity to cross-sell and upsell. And it's not my jam.
Well, good for you for saying that. I appreciate that. I had this conversation literally this morning with somebody who said that their past leadership, I should say, said, "Oh yeah, community is, we have to prove out how many leads we can get from community." It's all of the things that you hear, right? And they're not going to succeed. That's the thing that I continually struggle with hearing from leadership, whether it's a CMO or somebody in another part of the org that says, what can we get our advocates to do for us? And that's their main goal. Like, it's not going to succeed if you have that focus of how do we drive value to our customers and how do we help our customers find more success. They will naturally give you the benefits that you need. They will naturally want to jump on a call and be a reference for you. They will naturally give you, that quote that you need in the 9th hour for a press release that's about to go out. Like, you get that. And it's just, I don't know. It's a hard fight that we continue to kind of have to prove that out. But I think one of the areas of opportunity as we think about where community and customer advocacy live is if we take more of what I've said before, and I just keep saying the word magic because that's what my chief customer officer says. He's like, get the magic of advocacy to the rest of the community. So I can tell you one thing. I'll share kind of some broad ways that we're thinking about this at our organization. I cannot read and talk at the same time, you guys. I'm sorry. Both separate advocacy sits under marketing and the community is under the CS org. So yeah, that's common. And when we started, so I started our customer advocacy program when I was in marketing. And then at the same time, we had a very long established large public community that sat under product and didn't have a community owner. It was run by the developers who built it. It was an in-house community. And when our customer advocacy program was growing, and they said, Jenny, we need you to move over here to product and oversee community and take it all under your umbrella. And I'm like, absolutely, great. That was in product. So I have had it in marketing. I've been in product. I am now in customer success. I don't think it really matters where you are. So my thoughts on this have changed and evolved over time. I really don't believe that it matters a lot where you are if you have the support from leadership to do what will make you successful in your role because you understand what you need out of either community customer advocacy, hopefully both. So that has been another thing of it can live and operate and function exceptionally well under marketing. It can do it under product, but let me tell you, from my experience, it's harder because product people speak a different language than community people. They just do. And then if you're under CS, that for me, I can tell you has been the absolute best so far for my team, because the goals that we have of helping our customers be successful are the most aligned with CS. So having community be very close and tied with CS has worked very, very well for us. And I had a thought that I was saying, and now I can't remember what it was because, oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to give you an example of ways to think about like the magic and the overall company support. So and anybody who had used Influitive knows how it works. But if you don't, it's the very simple concept of your customers come in, they do things for you that help them be more successful, help you be more successful. You reward them with points. The points transfer into rewards. They claim rewards. Everybody's happy. And as I've already said, we've been having the internal conversation of how do we take that magic and what they love about that program and expand it across the entire community. And then if it's expanded across the entire community, how do you get more buy-in from your organization? So one thing that I did for this, as I'm planning that magic's over here, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna sprinkle it everywhere else. And I'm like, okay, I went to a lot of different departments across the organization and I said, what do you want our customers to do that would help them be more successful and help your department find more success? I said, tell me what those things are. So marketing came back with what you would expect. They're like, well, we want them to come to our webinars and to come to our events and to write us online reviews. And we want them to read our ebooks because that helps them achieve success by learning knowledge. And then it helps us achieve success by getting more views on the website and what have you. So that we got that list. And then support came back and they said, well, we want them to not wait forever to file a support ticket if they're having issues, because then they get more upset with the product or the organization. We want them to submit a support ticket right away. And they had a list, smaller list, but still a list of things that they want customers to do. Product came back with a list. Customer success came back with a list. If they finished their onboarding, they would be more successful. They'd be more successful if they finished it within a certain period of time. So I had all of these different departments come back with this big list of all the things that if our customers achieved those items, it would help the departments achieve more success and it would help the individual customers be more successful. So win-win for everybody. And we said, great, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at building out a program where we are rewarding every customer, not just advocates, but every single customer for achieving these specific things that you all said would help you find success. And that's what we're working on right now. So that is outside of like any community platform, that's outside of any advocacy platform. We're really envisioning how can we, again, take those motivators and provide a little bit more of the jet engine for customers to do. Here's the little nudge. This will help you find more success with our product and with our company, will help us at JAMP. And then our internal teams are incredibly supportive because then their brain starts going to, can I add more things to that list? Because if our customers did this, that would help us achieve success too. And we're like, yeah, you can add more things to the list. So that's one thing that we're building out, and I'm really, really looking forward to unveiling that. We're actually unveiling that program at our user conference in October. So my team's been really busy as they imagine that and they reimagine all of community, and then we rebuild our advocacy program, and then we look at what does it take and what should it take to be an advocate, and how does that align with community too. So, okay, I'm going to take a second and read what Shelly wrote here. Oh, Alina, you started in growth marketing, then went to CS. Now I'm in marketing now, all in 2 years. Yeah. I feel like that's pretty common too, that especially depending on the size of your organization, you can bounce around a lot and you just kind of have to find the right home. And a lot of times the right home is with the right leader, not with just the right org structure. Do you have different parts of the org doing customer events? We have CS doing user group meetings, field marketing, doing, yep, aspects, and then customer apps. I wonder if anyone has had success coordinating with all these silos, maybe an overall customer event strategy. That is interesting. I had a conversation recently that kind of ties back to this, Shelly, too. We do have a lot of different customer events in different areas. So right now we've got like user groups sits under, or not user groups, our cab sits under product at Jamf. It's just kind of how it's been, and that's where it is right now. Our marketing team owns our user conference. Words are hard late in the afternoon. Owns our user conference, and then our smaller type user conferences that we have in rest of world, so outside the US. And then we have user groups under my umbrella. I'm actually hiring, if anybody knows anyone, I am hiring right now for a full-time person to oversee user groups. We're redeveloping and reimagining that program. And as we do that, one of the questions that we're asking is, what is the goal of any of these events? Because I feel like that's something that gets lost. I don't know if you find that at your organization or not, but is it a marketing event or is it a customer event? And that's a lot of times a question that it seems like it should be easy, but it doesn't seem like the answers, at least what I found, are super easy to come out with. Because then depending on how you answer that, it really helps field how you build it and what outcomes you're trying to get out of it. If it's a marketing event, maybe you're looking for lead generation. If all of your customers are coming to an event, how much lead generation can you get from it? It's probably more really in its reality a customer event, and a community event rather, and what your customers want is more of a community event. So are they coming to interact with each other? Are they trying to come to get more information about your product? I mean, that's kind of what goes back to all of those questions. These are conversations we're having internally too, because there are so many events around the org with different focuses. We're like, what is the goal of each of these? And with user groups as a whole too, that's something that we're going to take a really close look at as we reestablish these, because it can get very overwhelming and it can, I don't know, just kind of diminish some of the overall value of each of those events. So I think that's a really interesting idea of, yeah, having just one strategy for all of the events. Yeah, so we're doing events for our current. Yeah, really good comments in here, you guys. I can't read fast enough. Marketing goals often emphasize lead generation, pipeline development. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when advocacy falls under marketing umbrella, the focus shifts towards gathering reviews, testimonials, case studies. Exactly. In such setups, there's a risk that community aspect might be overlooked. Yeah, 100%. So I'm doing well, this will give you a clue actually to what I told you I couldn't tell you earlier. I am doing a webinar with Gainsight next week. They have a community platform. And one of the things we're talking about is customer advocacy, building customer advocacy programs. And one of the questions I think they had on the list to talk about is one of the things that you wish you knew at the beginning. And that is right there what you, Rohit, I don't know if I'm probably saying your name wrong. I'm sorry about that. One of the things that I wish I knew in the beginning was to build specifically for the customer, not for my marketing objectives, even though I was under marketing at the time, because you learn over time, and anybody who's been in advocacy knows this, the outcomes that you're looking to get come naturally when you build for your customer first. So if I would have went in and I said, hey, customers, what can I help you with to help you be more successful in your role? And started with that strategy instead of the strategy of, I need to get this many reviews and I need to get this many XYZ things for marketing, it would have been more successful faster. But we didn't do that because I didn't know any better. Anyway, lessons learned. So now we're singing the same song sheet now.
Jenny, does Gainsight have a reference management tool? Do you know? You probably don't know. You might not know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
One of the pitfalls of, so I said we used to be on Reference Edge and maybe others are too, and we moved over
Yeah.
to Influitive. And the one problem with using Influitive for references is that people have to opt into Influitive. So even though I invited 275 existing customers that used to be in Reference Edge, which they didn't know they were in Reference Edge, at least they were accessible to me.
Yeah.
Now that they're in Influitive, but they haven't all, I had less than 50% join Influitive.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now I'm managing by spreadsheet. So I want to make sure that the next tool we move to in the future can handle references as well. But I'll look into that on my own. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
Gainsight's
can,
traditionally been like a customer success tool, but they're expanding into areas like community and, as I heard, also like education. So, I mean, I'm sure they would tell you they could do it, but they haven't historically been considered a reference management.
Okay.
they have a partnership with Champion, who is an advocacy tool, um, and references. So that's how they do it so far.
I've heard base is another one.
Yeah, there's a number. If you're looking at
Yeah, it's probably a million.
reference tools, there's a lot of those ones out there. So Gainsight purchased Insighted 2.5 years ago. You might know better, as a community platform, and have been building out community connection with Gainsight. What I've seen and heard from a lot of people who are using it, it's incredibly valuable if you're using Gainsight for CS, because then you can see your entire customer journey all in one spot, which is, exciting, and that's a whole nother topic. But for references, we were using Influitive for reference to manage our reference program. And one of the things that they had built for us prior to acquisition was, I guess it was a little tweak to their system where they made it that if we put in a reference request, it did not show current customers who could be references who our prospect was, because legally we can't do that at our company. And shortly after they were acquired, that broke. So whenever we would put in a reference and we'd say, hey, we're requesting advocates to speak to a person at an organization, it would auto-populate that prospect's name and information, which is a no-no. So, and we asked them, we're like, listen, we can't, this is bad. This is really bad. And they're just like, we can't do anything about it. Sorry. So our reference program, basically at that point, I handed it back to marketing and I'm like, we can't support you anymore in this. And honestly, I feel like that's the best move. Cause again, I'm not in marketing. We have marketing outputs that come out of community, but they are not my focus. They are not my KPIs. They're nothing that I focus on. So that program lives with marketing, and I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with it. But support how we can, but we don't have a tool to support anymore. So yes. Yeah, and you all answered her question. Customer advisory board. Yeah, sorry. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jenny. I have a question, and this is a little bit of an observation, but I think kind of good timing. So I work for a customer advocacy agency, so I've worked with a number of clients, but I'm very interested in this intersection of advocacy and community. And what I'm seeing is a lot of, with the budget cuts and the layoffs, a lot of people are being forced to combine advocacy and community, and they don't really want to, right? And it's more just because they're being squeezed and they're having to do this. So definitely seeing a lot of what you're talking about with the advocacy platforms latching on to or creating or developing a community. So SLAT5 is doing it. Like Mary said, Champion is partnering with Gainsight. Even Reference Edge now has what they're calling engagement essentials for their community. So I'm definitely seeing a trend towards trying to combine the two. But I guess what I'm curious about is for those people that are like a one-person team, or they are being asked to do it all, you know, really like how are they dealing with that? I'm just curious to know if there's anybody on the call that is experiencing something like that, you know, a one-person team or a very small team that is really now responsible for all of it. And you maybe started in community or you started in advocacy, but it's just not, you know, where your experience lies.
I could say a little something, Jen. So we Ignite had a community in the past 3 times, which I put in the chat, and it failed. And I've heard it was before I was here, and I heard it was because we didn't staff it properly. We just tried to sort of pass it around to different people that had other jobs to do at the company. So 3 times it failed, and here we are starting it up again. Our CEO really wants to have a community. Um, and it's coming under customer advocacy. So I'm taking it as a pilot, right? I'm just doing it as a pilot. It's a 6-month pilot by adding the discussion capability to Influitive and seeing how it goes with kind of low expectations, which is what a pilot is, just seeing, you know, what we get out of it, how customers engage. They are fully willing to hire someone full time if it's successful. So that's the approach that we're taking is let's get our feet wet again with a kind of a different focus this time on community, and they're willing to add a head count if it takes off. So I hope that'll be a successful path for us.
Yeah, I'm just really interested to see where it goes, you know, and these are evolving so fast and so much, you know, with community. And you mentioned base too. I mean, they've also added a platform, I mean, a community partner, and they've also got discussions now, and you know, so they're all doing it. But I just know that it's just becoming, you know, everybody's trying to do more with less. I really liked what you said, Jenny, about rewarding customers for achieving certain milestones for whether or not they're an advocate, right?
Yeah,
Because you're only helping them become an advocate,
exactly. Yeah.
right? You know, helping them to be successful, because that's one of the other big things that people don't always do on the advocacy side is give back, you know,
Mhm.
give back to the customers for everything that they're doing for you. So now you're turning it around and you're helping them to achieve those milestones along the way, so that now, of course, they want to, well, as
Yeah.
long as they're successful, of course, they're going to want to be an advocate, right? So I love that. I love that approach.
Yeah, so using the community to create more advocates. They're not going to know that they want to be in your advocacy program if they don't understand any of the benefits or see like what's so great about it. So you sprinkle it in. You take it out and you sprinkle it in. Let me reward you. You know, it doesn't need to be a full-blown for our advocacy program moving forward. They're going to get more, but in a different way. They're not going to earn points for activities because we are sprinkling that across our entire community in a very strategic, mindful way. Of course, you have to do that. You have to think of budgets and do a lot of math. Yes. But if you do it strategically, they want to climb that ladder. Not everybody. And that's another thing too, is we have to remember that not all of our customers ever want to be advocates, but some of them really want to showcase their ability and how strong they are in whatever they're doing with your product. So we 100% have customers who are like, yes, I want to become a Jamf hero. And we're making it harder for, before it was, we had a closed program, but anybody could ask to join and we had to invite them in. We're moving to an application process. So they are going to have 2 weeks a year to apply, and they're going to have to show, how did you benefit the community? Have to demonstrate. It's not going to be hard, but say like, how did you benefit the community? Why would you be an advocate if you didn't benefit? And we're not asking, how did you benefit Jamf? We're saying, how did you benefit the community? How did you help others in the community achieve some extra level of success? They can do that. Great. We can move you into our advocacy program. And then maybe to be later announced this year, there is a super advocate level, if you will, where we recognize those folks who've done even more and who are your absolute, if you think of your subject matter experts in your customer base, those people who are the gold stars when it comes to who you want to highlight in a case study, like who is doing incredibly unique things, who is really helping the community grow and thrive. Give them extra recognition, and highlight them on your website and give them special seating at your events, like make these people feel like superstars. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but I think one thing that we miss, and some of this might be in the organizations where they're separate, community and customer advocacy aren't talking or aren't working towards the same goals, is we miss that some customers want to come over here and some want to come over here, some want to stay in their own areas. So we build for what we imagine a customer would want to do, but not for our entire customer base, because we're not thinking of them as individuals, we're thinking of them as a group. And that's where I think a lot of community managers fail, is you have to think of these as individual people. Just like if you think of any families are all dysfunctional because we all have different personalities, different wants, needs, drives. That's how our customers are too. But so often we group them into tight personas and then we build for a persona. And I think that limits the capabilities that you can have for success within a community. So I had another thought, but I lost it because, Oh, I know what it was, Jen. Okay, so when you're talking about how do you do more with less, two thoughts on this, two very real realities. One of them, and Shelly, I like what you said a lot, is what? Staff for what success you want to be. Like, that's just the reality. Guess what? We're not going to grow as a company and never hire more salespeople. Our organization's like, oh, we're gonna add a whole bunch more business, but we're not gonna hire any more salespeople. No, they're not gonna do that. You have to do the same with community. And I've talked about this before. If you want your community to really be supported and you actually care about delivering successful measures and helping your customer find success with your organization, your product, you hire a community team to support that. One person cannot support a massive community. I know that it falls on deaf ears at a lot of organizations, but that's the number one reality, is we need to stop treating community like it's a one-person organization, because it's not. Just like no other department at your organization probably has one person, unless you're a tiny little startup and you have one person in finance or legal or whatever. Same thing goes for community. You need to grow it accordingly with your customer base. That's just how it needs to happen in order for it to be successful. That's not possible everywhere. So as you said, like, okay, if this isn't going to happen, then what do I do? One thing that I just started that I'm really excited about is I started a community champions program at Jamf. And this is with my internal colleagues. So I looked for, and other people are doing this, Sheila recognizes this, so it might sound very familiar. I looked for my colleagues who had already reached out and shown interest in community over time. They're like, hey, is there anything you need help with? Or hey, can I have a coffee chat and learn about community? And I got together, I think we have 10 people in this initial group. Yes, champions are the win. Exactly. So I have people from all over the globe. So I wanted to have global representation, right, of my colleagues, and from sales, from customer success, from support, from all different parts of the org. And we're coming together, and I'm not doing, and I told them, I said, one time I will give you a state of the state when it comes to community so that you all know where things are at. Because especially at a large organization, how difficult is it to get any message about what you're doing community out to the rest of the company? It gets really tricky. So I gave them an overview, and then I said, now moving forward, you're going to come to these meetings and you're going to say, how have I interacted with the community sometime over the last month? How has the community helped my team sometime over the last month? And then what's a problem or a challenge that my particular department, team, area is experiencing? And let's brainstorm as a group of how community can help it. So that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be incredibly collaborative. And they are super, super excited to be like the little spiders building the web out into the rest of the organization. So, I mean, doing things like that where you will always have internal champions, elevate them a little bit. I sent them all a massive congratulations. You were nominated by your managers for this role, make them feel really special, and then they're going to go out there and help you. So that's a way to extend your team without actually extending your team. So,
Yeah, I had great success with that because I think CX and product have vested interest in connecting with those customers and understanding, what they're looking for in community. And so working with, CX leadership, product leadership to identify those individuals on a global basis, and then bring those folks together, create, like develop SLAs, like what is expected here. We're
yeah.
launching was very successful for us, and they were very excited, especially product, to have hands-on opportunity to get in there. And then also I think with CX, we were always not bothering, but certainly looking to CX to help us for references. But if you can start to get that community really going, there's fewer reference requests because community is actually functioning as a community and they look to each other, right? And so I don't know, I just think there is vested interest, there is win-win for a lot of folks. Once your community gets going, and that champions idea is, I think, super key.
Yeah. I should have started sooner, honestly, but something with all the things as we discussed, you prioritize. But yeah, and the other thing too is like you have to this is kind of dumb to say out loud, but also like it's super important. You have to be excited about what you're doing. I have seen community managers. I've had conversations, and they're talking to me about their community, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a part of it. They're not excited about it. Like if you're not excited about what you're building, why would you expect other people to be excited and want to participate? So if what you're doing does not drive you in some way and make you like want to go to work and want to do the thing and want to continuously improve for the sake of your customers, either like I would just challenge you to think about what aspect of it would make you excited. Maybe it's planning an out of the box like event for customers to come to that has nothing to do with work at all. And I'm a strong advocate for this is how you build community. You get people out of the box and you reward them. Part of rewarding them is not asking for something back. So if I say, hey, customers, we're going to watch a New York City comedian juggle in his apartment for an hour and have a good time doing it. And they're just like, cool, that's it. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Or I brought a mentalist in before where virtually customers all over the globe, we watch a mentalist for an hour. Everyone's mind is blown, and then they talk about it for years to come because it was cool. Or you do a gratitude event, 747, Chris Shembra has the most magical way to get people to open up and build community with people through an hour and a half long gratitude event that you can do virtually. I mean, these are things where like that gets me excited to plan stuff like that because people don't expect it and it brings them together as humans, not as people doing the same job. So think about that too. Like if you're not excited about what you're doing, what aspect of it would get you excited? And that's going to get other people excited and then it'll bring them in. Yeah. Elena, if you want information on a gratitude event, I can send it to you. It's called 747. They're amazing. Amazing, amazing.
Wow, was that gratitude event for users, for your
I
customers,
did
or
it.
for internal members?
We've done it. We actually brought it in. Yes, Mary. So Ari did one. I worked with Ari to get that set up. Did you participate in that? That's the one I'm talking about, Mary. So we initially did want, you did? Okay, so Mary knows, she participated in it. We initially did one at Jam for an entire department as a way to build community amongst the department. And I was so moved by the experience that I hired Krishembra leads these. And I hired him and he did it with our customers. So we did it around, it was like our customer birthday anniversary one year. We actually did it 2 years in a row. Um, and it was amazing. And then we did it with it was the top 100 CMA, whatever, Mary. And then I totally forgot about that one. So I worked with Ari on that. It was great. Thanks, Rohit, no problem. Well, he already signed off. But yeah, it was great. So things like that I'm always thinking about is like, what can you invite people to? We've done a dueling pianos one year where we all jump online. And that one they got to participate where they got to give their request ahead of time. And then I shared information about the community with the dueling pianos company. So they worked in all of these cute little clips about the community and about individual community members that they shared during the dueling pianos. It was amazing. So, yeah, 747 Club. Yeah. Yep. That's it. Tell him Jenny sent you. He might give you a deal. But he's awesome. Chris is awesome. They do an amazing job. Um, so I suppose we got a little off topic there, but we're nearing the end anyway. All of these things, I just love dreaming about what customer advocacy, what community can be, how they can not stay separate. I think that's the whole thing of what we're talking about is like, don't separate them. Think of how can one benefit the other? How can community feed into customer advocacy? How can customer advocacy, the goals and the magic that we know to have in those programs and why people love them so much, how can we bring that out to the rest of the community, which therefore gets more buy-in from the entire organization? And one of those tips that I shared of just like ask your colleagues what would help you find success if our customers did them. That's going to be one of those initial things that will really help. I have never seen so many responses come from my colleagues in such a quick period of time. That's awesome. With just a couple minutes left, any last thoughts? I know I talked a lot. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like, I didn't prepare anything because I can just talk all day on this. I get excited about it.
Oh no, I think you did a great job. There's a lot I've got to go back and listen to again. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. And you're always welcome to come back. And like next week, we're doing open discussion. So, whatever questions people want to bring. And it's fun to have people with a lot of expertise like you be on those calls. But yeah, I'm sure this is going to get a lot of attention once we get it posted and let people get the recording link. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. This has been great.
Thank
No,
you, Jenny.
thank you, Mary. Thank you guys for coming. I talk about this a lot with my team too, of it takes all of us to continuously talk about the space in order for the space to move forward. Because it's new. It's not like brand new, but it's new. We're newer than customer success. That means we're new. If organizations are fighting to get more than one person, that means we're new. So we need to talk about it publicly and we need to share ideas with each other as much as possible so we can help each other grow so that come the end of the day, there's 100 jobs out there that we could easily go and pick one up, and we're of value because we have demonstrated all of the success in these areas already. I'm really passionate about that, and I want to see, and I know it will over time, but it takes a lot of communication, a lot of collaboration in the space. So I'm just really excited for any chance to help in a small way to do that.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you,
Thank
everyone, for
you.
coming.
Thanks.
Thank
And
you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
you
everyone.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.